First and foremost, all thanks and praises unto our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Wa Rakakwadash. Peace, blessings, much respect to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, on down to the rest of the elders who rule well within Israel. Salutations to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of this whole entire earth, no matter where, whom they may be, or what they may look like, pushing out this purified truth to the rest of the church who believe as well. You men who may not be teachers or prophets, you women, sons and daughters also, and the water to Yahweh Shai, because without him enduring and going to that cross for the nation of Israel and the nation of Israel alone, none of this would even be possible whatsoever. I have the book of Isaiah 9 and 5 pulled up right here, and it reads, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So it says for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise. So what's that confused noise? Back in the ancient days, back in the older days, when men would go to battle, they would go to battle with shield and buckler. You know, there'd be a lot of swords clashing against each other. There'd be a lot of rattling from a sword hitting against a shield, one side rushing against the other side, like how you would see people on a football field after a hike. Okay? That's how wars used to be fought. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. So back in the ancient days, your garment may be covered in blood. Somebody's arm may have came off. Somebody's leg may have been cut off. Somebody may have a deep cut, okay, from being penetrated by a sword, a sharp sword. But this modern day world, we don't have to look forward to this third world war being fought how wars used to be fought back in the days. Hell, even another example of that, World War I, World War II. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So seeing that now that the nuclear capabilities have increased on this earth and different nations are getting their hands on these nuclear missiles, well, prophecy is already being fulfilled. This third world war is not going to be battled out between men holding physical swords and shields, okay, with chest plates of armor. It's going to be totally different this time. You don't have to worry about men getting blood all over their garment because, see, this third world war, they can just push a button, send off a whole bunch of nuclear missiles, you know, send some fighter jets and a whole bunch of other military vehicles, you know, tanks, MRAPs, whatever they need to do to fight in combat. So this modern war that's coming, ultimately, is going to be with fuel of fire, which are the thermal nuclear missiles. And the fuel for the fire are going to be all the elements. Okay? For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Let's go to Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 6. I have cut off the nations, their towers are desolate. I made their streets waste, that none passeth by their cities. That none passeth by. Their cities are destroyed, so that there is no man, that there is none inhabitant. So this is speaking of war being fought with fire. This fire that's coming is going to cause the streets to be totally desolate. Verse 7, I said, surely thou wilt fear me, thou wilt receive instruction. So their dwellings should not be cut off. However, I punished them, but they rose early and corrupted all their doings. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations. And see, this verse right here sounds like like a lyric because of all the rhyming. I'm gonna read it again. Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore wait upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my indignation is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So this modern war is going to be fought with fire. Why? Because it's written that, back then every battle was with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this current battle that's coming is going to be with burning and fuel of fire. And that burning is going to be through them thermonuclear missiles, but overall it's going to be the Lord's anger. Okay? The Lord is going to cremate Babylon. Babylon is going to be left desolate. The streets are going to be wasted. Okay? Babylon's going to be devoured by fire. Just like if a person was to set fire on, let's say, a piece of wood, that piece of wood would be consumed. Consuming something doesn't just mean to eat it. Consuming something, if you set it on fire, okay, you have it for fuel for fire. Well, the devoured are going to be devoured by fire. Fire is going to eat up a lot of elements. Okay? So let's hold that. And let's go to, what's that? I believe it's Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 38 and verse 7. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Okay? So Gog and Magog, or Japheth, which are the Russians today, who had took over that land, they are a guard unto Meshach and Tubal. Now, what is it? Iran has oil, and I know Syria gives them ways to do business. And one thing about Babylon or America likes to get in the way to try to prevent that. Well, now you have what's known as the BRIC nations, which are 5 nations, which I'm not going to get into that right now. But overall, to get to the point, this verse is really just going into how Russia is a guard to Meshach and Tubal. All right. And Iran, as I was just saying, has oil. And when it comes to Syria, they find ways to make them prosperous in that business, so to speak. And one thing that's in the way of that, or tries to be in the way of that, is America. Okay? And Iran is modern day Persia today, ever since 1935. Okay? So we are in some times where now we see that Russia is in a mix of things. Russia's always been a big name in what would be the casualty of Babylon. Okay? Russia's going to also be involved with shooting missiles over here to what's known as America. When you go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 13 and verse 17, it says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Now the Medes is representing Russia. And the them is speaking of Babylon. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young man to pieces. Speaking of those fiery raindrops, those nuclear missiles. And they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. So wherever them missiles fall, wherever that fire spreads will be consumed, regardless of age or sex, height. Okay. When these days are fulfilled, you will know that there were men telling you about these things before they happen. All right. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 14. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. Matter of fact, let's jump back. Because really, I can just start from 1. Jeremiah 51 and 1. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. And that destroying wind is speaking of the nuclear wind. Okay, let's go forward. And I will send unto Babylon, speaking of America, fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land. So them thermonuclear missiles are going to be sent over here and empty Babylon, as in totally destroy it. For in the day of trouble, they shall be against her round about. The day is speaking of these different countries like Russia, North Korea, Arabia, China, Iran, Iraq, whoever else, okay, are going to send fiery raindrops, okay, flaming arrows over here to Babylon, because that's the prophecy. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigandine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. So the streets are going to be wasted. Those in the streets are going to be wasted. America is going to be turned into a complete wasteland. And all the partying, all the bullshit, and all the lollygagging that people are doing right now, there's going to come a day where fire is going to be flooding this place from one side of America all the way to the other side of America. Okay. Now, when you look at the Chaldeans was basically a territory bordering the Persian Gulf, I believe. All right. Now, today, thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. Today, that's speaking of America. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, speaking of America, and deliver every man his soul. That's not speaking of, getting a passport and leaving America. Okay. It's speaking of repent, turn back to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because he is our way out of it. And deliver every man his soul, be not cut off in her iniquity, speaking of America's iniquity. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that hath made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. So all these different nations have drunken of the wine of Babylon. All the wicked, evil philosophies of Babylon that these nations have drunk after they realized, damn, I've been played. I've been bamboozled. And now we're at the time where the nations are mad. They're acting like madmen. Okay? Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that had made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. And seeing that these nations are mad, eventually they're going to shoot off those fiery arrows. Let's go to Proverbs 26 and 18. Proverbs 26 and 18. As a mad man who casteth firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man that deceiveth his neighbor and saith, am not I in sport. So just like as a madman who casted firebrands, arrows, and death, well, when you go into that word firebrands, it goes into Zikah, which we understand nuclear missiles are not going to be just found written in the Bible, you know. But when you go into it, we understand you have to break things down through discernment. I think the word is extrapolation. You know, the Holy Spirit has to be working with you. But the definition of this word in Hebrews 21 and 31 is spark, missile, firebrand, flaming arrow. Okay, and what's a flaming arrow today? Thermonuclear missiles. So as a madman who casted firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man that deceiveth his neighbor and saith, am not I in sport? So seeing that the nations have gone mad, following after Esau, now these different nations who have gone mad, who have nuclear capabilities, they're going to shoot off those firebrands. They're going to shoot off those flaming arrows here to America. Okay? Jeremiah 51 and 14, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that hath made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen. So when Babylon falls, it's going to be suddenly and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed, which she can't be healed. America's too far gone. We're not at that point now where America can be cured. You can't put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. America's leaking out. It's over. All right. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. So our people need to forsake her. Stop following after the ways of her. She dying. She almost out of there. Okay. And let us go, everyone, into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. And you have a lot of these different heathens trying to flee America. A lot of the elites, they're not even in America. If you ask me, none of the elite are in America anymore. They left this place. They've been forsook this place. And you have other people who are trying to leave America, trying to get passports because they know something's up. All right. The Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion and the work of the Lord our power. Make bright the arrows. Speaking of those flaming arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes for his devices against Babylon to destroy it. Because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. So the destruction that's coming to America is a part of the Lord's vengeance. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong, set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes, for the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. So the time's going to come where it's going to happen because the Lord spoke it, and the Lord is not a man that he shall lie. O thou dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. All right. Why? Because we're in the time of warfare. And that's what men do during war. So seeing that America is set up to be destroyed, seeing that it's already written, our people need to separate from this place spiritually. Stop trying to uphold this society because the Lord is going to destroy this place and those who are down with it. So I'll probably close it there. Yeah, I'll just close it there. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Give all thanks and praises unto our power. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahashum, Warakakwa Dash. Shalom.